Oh,
Okay.
hello, people.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, that's the that is the behind the scenes getting things started. I guess we're going. I guess we're live.
Okay, hello, everyone.
Please, yes, introduce yourself, and I will fade up the music.
I'm Josh, or Guava. I was the person who, so I worked with 3 other people on this game. I was the one who came up with the idea and did a lot of the level design and programming. I worked with 2 really talented artists, Liz and Connor, who did all the beautiful art you see for this game and the pixel art animations. I can't do art myself, so it's really awesome having them on board. And I worked with one other programmer who is one of the best programmers I've ever met and could handle all the stuff that was really hard to do. And we put together a really awesome game called Mausoleum Maker. Definitely give it a shot. It's like a reverse platformer, but it's actually really more of a puzzle game. It's pretty neat. Definitely really, really proud of it. Check it out. So, let's get to the interview. So
can you get into a little more specifics on your role in the project?
Sure. So I was, okay, so I'm a programmer by trade, I guess. And so originally I just saw that this thing was announced, just premiered an hour beforehand. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I wonder if I'll have an idea for it. And so my first thing I did was I came up with the idea, which was, my first idea was just it was kind of have you seen The Blind Ninja? That was played on Mark's stream yesterday. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't had time. Coordinating this stream has taken me the better part of 9 hours, so...
Do not sweat it. Do you have the trailer up right now? I can't see the stream.
Oh, I've not been playing the trailer. I've just been looking at the page and all the beautiful little GIFs that you got on the side of it. But yeah, I'll run the...
So you don't need to play the trailer. Just at the bottom of the screen, you see the bar with the arrows that show where the skeleton's going to move.
Yeah.
So the little bone is a timer of where the skeleton's going to move, right? So if it's right arrow, it moves right, or jump, moves jump when it hits that arrow, right? So the original idea I had actually was kind of the reverse of this. It gave you a level, and then you had to insert the arrows into that bar.
Sort of like creating a Taz.
Yes, exactly. You're creating a Taz. And I was like, that's a really cool idea. And I wonder, and that the reason it would be out of control is because you were running out of controls because you had a finite number you could put in each place. And and I thought that was a great idea. And I was really excited about it. I hit some of my friends up and was like, yo, I have this really unique idea. Come work on it with me. That's kind of that last minute, but join on board. And they were like, that's a great idea, but I think it was kind of done last year. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. And it was something pretty similar was done last year. It wasn't exactly like creating a task, but it was running out of controls and you could only use each input once type stuff. It would have led to similar puzzles was the issue. So what I did instead was I just reversed the idea and have it so that you were given that bar and you had to put in platforms. And I don't think I've seen something done in this type of similar way with this fact of how the puzzles are designed. Most games I've seen where you create platforms is in real time. And it's kind of escorting a player as opposed to kind of fighting against it, like in this game. But yeah, no, I was really, really happy with the idea. Sorry, as far as my role, I did a lot of the programming. So I built the bottom bar, I built a lot of the physics, and I did almost all the levels for the level designs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got through nearly every level of the game when I tried it out myself. There's some real clever ones here, so I would encourage everyone to try it out. The link is there on screen underneath the Itchio image. And
yeah, please check it out. The two, unfortunately, it was almost perfect running, but then at the end we added some background images just last second, and due to some weird Git issues and miscommunications, and the fact that we submitted a minute before deadline, some of the background images had colliders in them, and because how we had our little we round where you put a tile to the nearest grid space, right? And so one of them was off by a pixel, and it was a spike one. And so there's an invisible spike somewhere.
Yeah, I think 6. I know exactly that level. Yeah.
It literally got added in the last 2 minutes of production.
Yeah, that's so upsetting. It's always a panic. And that's the kind of thing where I feel like, I understand why there's the lockdown on not being able to edit the game after it goes live, but
yeah, no, but there are certain you just wish you could put out the smallest hot fix, you know?
Exactly.
But that literally after we released it, I literally solved all the bugs and the visual bugs in the next 10 minutes. And I'm like, damn, if I had a little bit more time to work on this, it would be so good. But I'm still really happy with the levels we got out, and there's still some really cool solutions. So I'm pretty psyched.
Yeah, nice. Was there any particular like hack that you had to do on this that you'd never do in the context of a real production game?
I don't know. I would say a lot of the programming tricks we used were pretty honest, except for the fact that we didn't use like tile maps at all. We like just built a little script that we attached to everything and rounded it to the nearest tile space, which was what ended up causing some issues at the end. But overall, I think that it was pretty good. We built like something that I wasn't planning. So kind of the opposite of this question. So I'm sorry, but something that I would have kind of wanted in a full build, but not in this build was something that my other programming friend, Ryan, was really adamant on, which was rebuilding or making sure that we built our own physics system instead of just using Unity's. Because apparently Unity's rigid body system is not deterministic. So if you were to run it again and again and again, there'd be a chance that somewhere along the way something different would happen with the same level. And I was like, okay, I see how that could be an issue, but I don't know if it's really worth it. And he really pushed for it, and we ended up building it, even though it took us a while. And it was such a good idea. I mean, the fact that everything runs the exact same way every time is actually so big for a game like this. And like, there's some pretty precise points where like that would be a real big issue. And so it's almost the opposite of that question. Something that I shouldn't have done for the game jam, but we did.
No, but that's perfect.
It's worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I've played games, just, even mobile games that are made with that standard box 2D game, and having that some of those interactions not be deterministic, and sometimes I end up beating the game because I broke the physics and clipped my character through a wall. It's like, it doesn't really feel like, but that's just super impressive because I am talking specifically about Rovio's Bad Piggies on iPhone, and the fact that a AAA developer didn't bother to make their game have deterministic physics when an indie team of 2 programmers in the scope of a 48-hour game jam managed to do that is just, what the heck, guys?
Yeah, big shout outs to Ryan for that. He was the one leading the charge on that. He's one of the best programmers. He's built his own engine. Like he's insane. Just what an awesome guy. He's definitely asleep because he goes to sleep really late, but shout outs to him for when he wakes up.
Also, I love the character animation, super expressive.
Yeah. Thank you. The animations are all Connor. He did an amazing job with them. He just I guess for the development process kind of. So after I had the idea, and I hit up the artists, I hit up my friend Ryan, we went into for all the art, that's all Connor, all inspiration for it, all animations, or like besides some of the UI stuff and some of the other things which were Liz. But like for the skeleton was literally just like, I was just like, hey, here's the game idea, pick whatever theme you want, do whatever you want with it, just like let's make it work. And he was like, okay, and just sent us in like 30 minutes the cutest little skeleton walking animation. I'm like, I love it so much. Little noodly arms. I was very happy with it. So shout outs to him. Really, really talented group of artists.
Yeah, it really managed to get a lot of expressiveness out of a very small number of pixels, which is super impressive.
Agreed.
So did you need to cut or change anything in order to get the game finished in time?
Well, if you don't count anything to do with the last minute bugs, we had, I mean, the biggest thing, or not the biggest thing, but the thing that, one of the things that was actually there in the final Unity build, but when we built it into an executable, like 2 minutes before we had to submit, it wasn't there, was the cursor. So we built a custom cursor, which would show when you were over when you could actually be placing a block, or when you could erase a block, or when you couldn't place a block, right? Right. So like if you hovered over an image that was supposed to be solid, so you couldn't place it there, like it would be a different color and a different animation, right? And we built our own little spooky skeleton cursor, which like moved its fingers around and had some really cute animations for, and it fit the theme really well. But when we built it into an executable to upload, it just showed up super glitched, and we didn't have time to fix it. So we had to cut that entirely. We also originally had more different types of tiles, which you could add. So we had like springs and some other stuff. and that's why the right bar exists at all with the like tile graveyard, I guess, because otherwise that's really kind of not necessary.
Right. You could otherwise just have a number of what tiles you're going to place.
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't have time. By the time we realized that like we weren't going to have levels with them very much because we didn't have time to, we just like we realized it was worth it to just have the optimization of just left click equals place tile. It's so smooth, you know, you don't have to like drag anything. It's just real nice, just click, 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 you know?
Yeah.
And so we didn't have time to get rid of that because changing UI takes a little bit, but we did get rid of springs and stuff, which will probably be in a full build in some way.
Right. Well, before I get to my next question, I'm going to turn it over to chat, because if anyone has any questions they would like to ask, please start submitting them now, and I'll give everyone time to submit those questions while I ask. What are your plans for the game going forward? It sounds like you've already made some fixes, have some changes in mind.
Yeah, well, just for my own satisfaction, the first thing I did after we submitted was I fixed all the visual bugs. I fixed all the invisible spike stuff. I fixed all the hitboxes. It was just like, it was such a quick fix too, which was depressing. But as far as actually going forward, I honestly, this is like one of my favorite things I've ever made. Me and this team of people, plus a music person and a story person, are working on a much bigger project right now, which is like a weird meta typing game, but it's much more ambitious, and so it's gonna take a while. But this game, when we made it, I realized early on, like once I started actually doing the levels, that like we were able to have such creative puzzles, especially in the 3-star solutions, that there was just so much potential for this room to grow, and we didn't need to actually do too much to change it. We just needed to make more levels, fix the bugs, and just like polish it up. And so I think we're going to turn it into like a full game, hopefully, and release it. One of the plans super going forward for it, which I'm really excited about, let's say, I guess we'd probably do this after release, but I want to make so the first thing we're going to do right now is make a level editor, right? We're going to make a level editor which can save levels so that we don't need to use our stupid grid snapping thing. So that way you can just make levels and test levels all on the same page. And then we're going to eventually, hopefully, have a in-game level editor and a level sharing system for the players themselves, like almost like a really truly a reverse Mario Maker style, where you other people can place permanent tiles and share their levels and say what the skeleton's going to do and give levels for other people to try to solve, and set the star counts, etc. And I think that would be really cool if we could let other people like do that,
Yeah, absolutely. I see a lot of potential with that.
Yeah, and I think that, like, let's say we make like 50 levels, which I think would be a good goal and an achievable goal. Just having the ability to have like all these custom levels also and like a ranking system for them is like expands the longevity of a game by 1 million. So so I think that is something I really want to do, and I think everyone on my team seems hype on it too. So I think we're going to go through with it.
Awesome. I super look forward to that. This is definitely one of my favorite games in this game jam. I was sort of, thinking in the back of my head, like, am I going to say like this game my favorite, that game my favorite? And not to say that to those earlier on in the stream that neither of those were or were not my favorite. It just did. This was one of the ones where I saw somebody started on a stream like, oh my gosh, I love the artwork, the aesthetic. I love the idea of the controls.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it just, you guys have got something really special here, and I'm glad to hear you have plans for taking it forward. And I hope everyone is excited to see it.
Yeah, no, this is like I really, really fell in love with making this game. Like, I mean, like, oh my God, it was just so. I'm sorry, one more thing. This isn't exactly a hack, but something that I'm really excited to talk about is one of the level design processes. So level 4, it's the level where your character goes and jumps over it's a very simple looking level. It's a flat level with 2 spikes.
Yeah.
And your character jumps over the spikes. And so you put some, but would fall into them. So you put some spikes, you put some blocks above the spikes. And then he goes back, jumps back over those blocks, and then runs into the spikes again. That level. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, yes.
Sorry, those haven't played it. What do you say?
Oh, I know it specifically because it had that was the moment where when I was playing it, I had that feeling of like, oh my gosh, this looks like it would be a simple solution, but I actually have to like really think this through and block the character off in these specific ways.
Yeah, that's what makes that level my favorite level. But so that level was the first level we created, and it was made almost entirely randomly. By that I mean, so in order to generate what the skeleton does, it's a text file with 2 lines where you type in J for jump on the top line, whatever you want, space for nothing, and L and R for left and right? And then the action display thing reads the text file.
Right.
So in order to test out the text that interaction, I just built a flat line, added like a spike, and just typed in some gibberish of like left here, right, or like right here, then left, then right again, and added some jumps, and it just worked so well. It wasn't great immediately, right? Because there were ways to do it in like one tile. But like once I realized I didn't think of that level as much as the skeleton like showed me what that level could be. And then I just worked on it.
That's great. So you actually have like an emergent property. Yeah,
it really is, because unlike like platformers where you build the levels and the you have to figure out what your character wants to do, this time you can really make your character just do some stuff and have that inspire the levels you make in really cool ways.
Nice. Yeah, that's exactly the sort of thing I wanted to hear about. I guess we're not getting any particular questions from the chat, which is a shame. But in the meantime, how did you guys? Did you like sleep during the jam? Like, how did you actually? Maybe you can walk me through like the day-by-day schedule.
Okay, it depends on the person in the jam. So,
well, you can start with talking about your own experience.
Yeah. So for me, I did sleep. I slept 6 hours during the jam each night, which was just enough for me to keep having steady progress. We were all working on kind of different sleep schedules, which was a little bit unfortunate, actually, in the sense that we couldn't always communicate because some of us are in different time zones, and my friend Ryan is just like effectively nocturnal. And I get up kind of early. And so we definitely slept for it, but we still tried to manage to make communication. And the times where we were awake, we worked together really hard. We worked on it pretty much all our waking hours, though, I will say. I don't think I have too much interesting to say about our particular work schedule.
Sure. Well, we did get one question, which is if you have any plans for releasing on Switch, maybe including touch controls.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it's weird to say that not to say it's weird to say that, but I guess I never thought I would be talking about releasing on Switch right now when I started this game jam. You know what I mean? Like when I first the only reason I entered this game jam is because I couldn't make it into the DMV. I showed up at 8:30 a.m. and they were full for the whole day until 5, and they wouldn't even let me online. And so then I made it back and was like, oh, there's a game jam today. Cool. And then I just looked at it and this is awesome. And so the fact that I'm even talking about potentially releasing a game on Switch, which is like the main way I play games anyways, is on my Switch, is so exciting to me. But yeah, I think that this game is very well suited to the Switch. And I think that the Switch can definitely run it. It's very low. It's very low intensity, so even really bad computers and Switches and stuff can run it. Short answer, yes. I definitely think this game fits the Switch, and I think we'll release it for it.
Yeah, awesome.
Does Unity play with the Switch well, or is it an entirely different design process?
I couldn't tell you specifically.
Okay.
I do have a friend who built a game in Unity and who is working on presently porting that game to the Switch, so I know it's possible.
Okay. So if it's possible to just go from Unity to the Switch, we'll probably release it at almost the same time for Steam and the Switch. If it's a different thing, the good news is that this game isn't too intense to build. We were able to build most of the core mechanics of the actual full game in 48 hours, right? Which is the reason I picked this idea, was because it was so simple. But it's really the level design and stuff that takes a while. And so, as well as the art and everything else, right? But and so even if we have to remake it, we will remake it for Switch. It'll just be later.
The one thing I can imagine being an issue is that, of course, Nintendo is very careful of content creation, right? Like they have Mario Maker as a content creation platform on their own on the Switch, but you got to anticipate people uploading, you give someone a canvas and someone will draw something phallic on it. So that's going to be a hurdle to overcome. You'll need to have active moderation for that. I also happen to know that go ahead and release on Steam first, get the hype up, and then you might even have Nintendo approaching you. In that case, they will say, cool, bring it to our platform. What are you going to add to it? Because I know that Nintendo will be appreciative of additions that you make to the game exclusively for the Switch. So I feel like I can share that as much.
That's awesome. Thank you for the advice.
Sure
I definitely
thing.
plan to release on Steam first. The level creator, I think, like or not the level creator, but the ability to share levels with other players is, I think, something we'll add in later as kind of like a free DLC, probably.
Nice.
Something. Because or maybe paid, depending on how much server upkeep costs. I'm really not sure about that. I would need to look into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, but if we need to, I mean, we can always release it on Switch with just like 50 levels. It's still worth like some dollars. But,
All right. Well, I've thrown the game link in the chat so everyone can try it out. Any closing thoughts? Any Twitter handles? Anything you want to plug?
No, go try it out. I mean, just the game, man. That's all I want to plug. I'm so proud of this game. I love building it so much. We've gotten such good feedback from people. We are really close to being able to make top 100, and it would be like a real dream of mine to have Mark play it. That would be so cool because, like, oh my God, he's like my favorite game dev creator, and so having it be having him play my game would just be, it would like really make my life. Not to sound like a fanboy, but he's a big inspiration as to why I like make games to begin with. And
Absolutely.
So shout outs to him. And go play it, go try it. If you like it, go rate it. If you don't like it or you do like it, message me, give me feedback, write feedback on the comments. We're looking to improve it. We had this one really awesome person streamed for the first time yesterday, like to highlight the game. And really just to play other people's games. I didn't really talk about my game too much, but I obviously had it in like the description, and someone came back and just gave me like a page's worth of feedback, and it was so useful and awesome. And it was just like so cool to see someone put in that much like thought into like this like passion project I worked on. It just like felt awesome. Go out there, make games, keep on making games. Also, I want to just tell you are the only person, I think, to make me cry with your game. Shout outs to you, Blue Screen Productions. How many people were on your team?
Just me.
Just you? Wow.
Yep. Well, I mean, I've been making games for like 16 years, so...
oh, wow.
This is... making the game was kind of last minute inspiration. Maybe I'll have some time to talk about that later on the stream, but for now it's about you guys and your awesome game. So thanks so much thanks to everybody for joining us right now. I'm going to plug our next creator is DirectCrib64, with the creator of Panic Attack. That's going to be live here in just about 8 more minutes at 11:30 GMT -4. I've just included the link to Mausoleum Maker there on the stream, and when I fade out to the intermediary screen, you'll see the link to my game as well. So thanks again for joining me on the stream today, and best of luck with the game going forward. I've got to hang up on you so much now, and then I'll fade the music in.
See ya.
Cheers.
Yep. Take it easy.